single child of a single mom who was a fantastic cook. Hamburgers, steaks, lamb chops, spaghetti with handmade meatballs. She cut her own fries, fried them, seasoned them herself. I'm glad to be giving you this speech during your normal lunchtime. I grew up on that food. I do not remember not being chubby. As far back as I can go, there was always that, and on top of that, there was ice cream and potato chips and chocolate pudding in the fridge. I was allowed to eat ice cream for breakfast. Right? It was really awesome, but unfortunately, it also gave me that view that I was meant to be overweight. I didn't know that I couldn't be. What was worse is when I asked my mom about it, she said, "You're not fat, honey, you're just big bone," right? I understand where she was coming from, and it was a very sweet thing that she was trying to do, but it also taught me that, no, this is the way I am, or it reinforced that belief that I had about myself. I'm focusing on the negative aspects of this right now. However, at the time, it was a pretty sweet deal. My friends were super jealous of me, and it could have gone on for a long time. It could have gone on forever, except for the fact that every 13-year-old boy has to have that head-on collision with hormones, right? So the first few years of developing that part of my life was really, really uncomfortable. I felt that suddenly I was in this race, and everybody else was already off on this goal that I couldn't even see, and in fact, I was facing the wrong way. I was really unequipped to compete in the realm of popularity and confidence. So I just sank in my corner, and I just thought more and more that this is who I was. That all changed my junior year in high school, when our band director, I was a band geek, when our band director told the whole class that this year, the class field trip for the band, where we would go off to compete, was in Florida, and one of the attractions that we were going to was a water theme park, right? Instantly in my head, this girl that I had a huge crush on, in a bathing suit, all right. And then me in a bathing suit, right? Like the Pillsbury Doughboy, but sweaty and hairy. Not good. I panicked. So that was the moment where I did not want to accept that that was who I was anymore. I went home, pulled out the scale, and I remember standing on the scale and watching the needle just bounce right there, right under 200 pounds, 197. And I vowed not to cross that boundary. And I didn't. I started cutting back, no more snacks, much smaller portions. I told my mom, and I was always so passive then, but I told her, I'm gonna eat a lot less, don't be offended. The luckiest thing happened about 1 week later. The motivation was starting to wear off, there's still those doubts that are crawling back in. And one of my classmates came up to me and said, "Are you losing weight? Are you getting thinner?" And I was just dumbstruck. And I remember going home and looking in the mirror, and I don't know what she sees. I haven't changed at all. Maybe even to this day, it might have just been the lighting, the way the shadow fell. I'm not sure, but that gave me the motivation and the momentum that I needed to keep going. So I did. Every day I weighed myself in the morning, after going to the bathroom, of course, and I kept on the same belt. I just kept tightening it more and more, and it was to the point where I was cutting new holes in the notches, and it was wrapping around my body, 1.5 times. I needed that constant reminder because I still didn't believe it, but I kept going forward, and finally, it was a reality. Finally, I got to my goal. And I wish I could tell you all that I went to that band trip and that I was walking around showing my stuff, fully accomplished. You take a body that hasn't seen the sun for 17 years and you take the shirt off, it's not gonna look good no matter what you do. But that doesn't matter. By that time, I had already cut through the belief. I had destroyed the facade that I had built up for myself. And to this day, I've never gained that weight back. What's really interesting is even though now I think of myself this way, and I can't even remember that old weight of how I used to be, it took me 6 years to really integrate that change, right? I lost the weight in 6 months, but I didn't lose it from my mind until 6 years later. So now we are here in Toastmasters. I am nervous about speaking. I don't know who else is out there like me, but there's that voice again. You're not supposed to be standing in front of people doing public speaking. You're a shy guy. That's not you. However, I know that voice now. I know it for what it is. It's not some secret whisper from my soul bearing all the truth for me to see. Instead, it's just fear made out of cardboard. Knock it down. Stand up here, keep speaking. Take the lessons that you learn here at Toastmasters, integrate them into your life every day, make it part of yourself. And you will not only become an effective speaker, but there will be a day that you will not even be able to look back and remember the doubts that you ever had about yourself. Mr. Toastmaster.